Lieutenant's Log, April 16th, 2016. So, hey guys, I'm back once again to talk a little bit about the new Warcraft trailer that came out today. Excuse me. I wanted to take this opportunity to talk a little bit about this trailer specifically, as well as the movie in general, because they didn't show us a whole lot of new stuff. Um, Basically, I've played World of Warcraft on and off since the Burning Crusade era, and I like to check into the game whenever a new expansion comes out and see what's been developing in the story and what's been added to the game. That game is one of my favorite games of all time. I really love WoW. I've had a lot of great memories playing it, and I've always loved the Warcraft universe. So I was really excited when they announced that they were going to be making a movie adaptation. This has been in the works for a very long time, since 2006, and we're finally getting the movie. So I've been anticipating it for a long time. I've seen some people sort of be down on the movie. They don't think it looks very good. I personally don't understand that, but I'm obviously very biased. So what it looks like we're getting here, based on the two trailers we've had so far, is a loose adaptation of the original Warcraft Orcs and Humans storyline from the original strategy game that came out. I think it was in the 90s that game came out. And I haven't played any of the strategy games except for a little bit of Warcraft 3. WoW was my main introduction to the universe and the lore and things like that. So most of my knowledge comes from that, but I have read some lore, wiki things to sort of understand things. That when I played WoW back then to sort of understand the lore, because I thought it was interesting, and it seems to me like that's what they're adapting. Uh, Basically, what happens in that game, there's a dark portal that opens between two worlds, one being Azeroth, where the humans live, one being Draenor, where the orcs and the Draenei live. In Azeroth, all of the other races that we see introduced in WoW, on the Alliance side at least, live there as well. And the orcs are fleeing the influence of Kil'jaeden and the Burning Legion. They go through the dark portal and try to find a new home on Azeroth, and of course the humans think the orcs are encroaching on their territory, and a big war ensues between the two of them. It looks like in the movie, Duratan, who is the leader of the Frostwolf clan, is going to ally himself with the humans in order to repel in the Orcish Horde, which is the fell-infested orcs that seem to be under the influence of Kil'jaeden and the Burning Legion. I would assume that Gul'dan's going to be involved in all this, as he is in the games, and sort of making a unholy pact with Kil'jaeden. So that looks like it'll be a pretty cool story. I'm interested to see primarily how the movie juggles the dual protagonist thing it's going for. I was very happy when Duncan Jones, who's the director, and all else involved in the movie, said that neither the orcs or the humans will be portrayed as outright evil, because that's sort of the big thing about the Warcraft universe, and one of the things I always liked about it was that it portrayed both sides as having sympathetic causes, and there's no binary good and evil distinction, at least between the Alliance and the Horde. There's certainly purely evil villains in Warcraft, but there are heroes and villains on both sides of the conflict, which makes playing as either of them very interesting in the games. And it looks like they're trying to preserve that sort of spirit in the movie, which is cool. Duratan and Anduin, who Duratan's one of the leaders of a Frostwolf clan. The orcs are made up of different clans and stuff, and Duratan and his Frostwolf clan have always been the most noble of them. And Anduin, who's one of the knights under the command of the King of Stormwind, is sort of the main human protagonist, it looks like. So that will be pretty cool if they balance that well. Garona Halfrison, I think that's how you pronounce her name. She appears to have a major role in the film, and she's a character in the games as well. She initially believes herself to be half orc and half human, but is eventually revealed to be half orc, half Draenei, and her birth was orchestrated by Gul'dan, who's this sort of evil orcish warlock who causes most of the orcs' problems. He's one of the main villains, at least on the Horde side. So it's going to be interesting to see if that's revealed in the movie. She looks like, at least in the context of the movie, she's going to be the bridge between the two of them, and works primarily with the humans. Most of her scenes are with Anduin, so that'll be pretty cool. Most of the trailers we've gotten so far have hinted at a lot of things coming in the future that I presume they won't get to in this movie. So it's interesting that they're trying to set up a Warcraft franchise. Activision and Blizzard are sort of one company now. They have been for a long time. Um, actually, they have recently announced that they have ambitious plans to make an Activision movie studio sort of thing, and that they're going to have a Call of Duty movie universe. So I would imagine they have the same sort of plans for Warcraft, and this might be the movie that kicks all of those plans off. I saw in the first trailer there's a baby orc who is obviously supposed to be Thrall, who is Dorotan's son in the games. Thrall is one of the best characters in the Warcraft franchise, one of the best heroic characters. So I would imagine that we're going to see his birth and some of the formative moments of maybe his childhood in this movie. That would be very interesting. I hope that this movie does well enough that they get sequels, and that the movie's of quality enough that they can do sequels. Um, because the Warcraft story and universe is very wide in scope. There's a lot of things to cover, and I'm glad that we're not rushing to those characters. I like that we're starting at the first war, the events of the first game, because they easily could have, put us into the story of WoW, because that's their most popular game by far. But I like that this movie at least seems to be starting at the logical place for the story, the initial conflict between the orcs and the humans, which is very cool. Um, this trailer specifically, I didn't think was as good as the first one, just because of the music that the trailer set to. I know it's kind of a weird complaint, but if there was any criticism of the first trailer, because it seemed like a generic fantasy epic sort of thing, adding dubstep was not the way to solve that issue, in my humble opinion. But then again, I'm sort of a curmudgeon when it comes to music, and I hate most of the music that comes out today, at least mainstream popular music. So I don't know. What do I know? Maybe the kids loved it. That's who they're trying to sell the movie to. So, I'm not the person to talk to in that regard. It was also very cool in this trailer specifically to take a short look, if anything, at the dwarves. I didn't expect them to be in the movie because, as far as I know, they're not in the first game. I don't think that the dwarves play a prominent role until the second war, which is the second game in the Warcraft universe. Um, I don't know who the king is in the trailer we see. I presume he's one of the Bronzebeards, but I'm not sure. I'm not all that familiar with the history of the dwarves and their lore. Because I used to play the Horde primarily when I played WoW. They're kind of the story that I'm interested in the most. Um, and related to that, I'm surprised we haven't seen any substantial looks at the villains of the piece yet, particularly on the Horde side. Gul'dan, Blackhand, and Ughrim Doomhammer are kind of the nefarious characters on the Horde side. There's Gul'dan is the one that's primarily, the most evil of them. But I love all three of those characters, and I'm excited to see what they do with them in the movie, especially given that Clancy Brown was cast as a Blackhand, and he's an awesome actor that I like a lot. I'm just excited to see all the Horde stuff in general. I'm also interested to see if we have any of the other races introduced here, or we save them for future films. It would make a lot of sense to introduce the Draenei, at least at the beginning of the film, given the half orc, half Draenei origin of the character that's supposed to bridge the gap between the two races here, and that the reason the orcs originally seek to ally themselves with the Burning Legion and what ends up destroying their homeworld is a war with the Draenei. Gul'dan and the Shadow Council make a deal with him so they can become more powerful and fight wars against the Draenei, because they feel like the Draenei might seek to destroy them at some point. It's a whole big complicated plot that I don't think they'll go into in the movie, but it would make sense to at least see the orcs initially fighting the Draenei on Draenor before they flee their homeworld, briefly at the beginning of the movie. So that would be kind of cool to see. That's all I really have to say about this specific trailer. I'm hoping that Duncan Jones is able to bring some of the brilliance of his past work to Warcraft, and that this movie is the one to sort of break the trend of bad video game movies, finally. Hollywood could certainly use something other than comic book stories to adapt their movies from, and I'd love to see all of the video game properties I loved as a kid and as an adult now turned into movies and made into really great movies, like some of the comic books I've read have been. So, sound off in the comments as to what you think about the trailer. I know most of the reaction has been negative that I've seen, so I'd imagine that probably won't change here. But I'd also like to see what people might be excited about with this movie as well. So, whatever your opinion is, just sound off in the comments. And thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye.